Hey everyone, and welcome back to Applied Wisdom, Literature for Living Better.
Glad to be here.
Today we're digging into Jim Murphy's Inner Excellence. Train your mind for extraordinary performance and the best possible life.
This is a really interesting one, especially if you're already sort of on that personal growth path.
Exactly. It's got some, I think, really powerful ideas
Yeah.
about unlocking what's, inside you.
Absolutely. Think of this as a bit of a shortcut, maybe, a rundown of Murphy's core insights.
And crucially, how you can actually start applying them right away.
Right. For better performance, yeah, but also just, feeling more fulfilled in life.
So our goal today is really to unpack this central theme. Your mind is the ultimate frontier, you could say.
And understanding your own inner landscape, as he calls it, that's really ground zero. It's where everything starts.
So Murphy kicks things off by talking about the two sides of our minds, right?
Yeah.
There's the conscious part and then the subconscious.
That's it. He draws a clear line. The conscious mind, he calls it the captain.
Right, the logical part. Making decisions, willpower.
Exactly. And then there's the subconscious, which he calls the crew. And this is where your beliefs live, your habits, emotions.
And he says the crew is way more powerful.
Oh, much more powerful. It's running the ship most of the time, often without the captain even realizing it.
So for you listening, what's the big deal here? Why does this distinction matter so much?
Well, the key takeaway is that for any real lasting change to happen, these two parts, the captain and crew, they need to be aligned. They need to be working together.
And if they're not?
That's when you get stuck. Have you ever consciously decided, I'm going to do X, but then you find yourself doing the opposite or just sabotaging yourself?
Definitely. Happens all the time.
It's highly likely, Murphy argues, there's a subconscious belief or pattern, part of the crew, that's pulling you in a different direction than your conscious intention, your captain.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. He talks about our beliefs being like the operating software of our minds.
That's a great analogy, isn't it? These beliefs, they literally shape the reality we experience. They filter everything.
But where do they even come from? Are we born with them?
Mostly no. They develop over time. From past experiences, definitely, our upbringing, the culture we're in.
Things people told us.
Exactly. And also the things we repeatedly tell ourselves. Many of these get embedded really deep in the subconscious, often without us consciously choosing them or even being aware they're there.
So how can you start to, figure out which ones might be holding you back? The limiting ones?
Well, self-awareness is absolutely the first step. Murphy really hammers this home. You have to start paying attention.
To your thoughts?
Your thoughts, yes. Especially the automatic ones, the ones that pop up in certain situations. Ask yourself, is this belief actually helping me? Is it serving my goals?
Or is it just an old habit of thinking?
Precisely. Is there solid evidence for it now? Or is it maybe based on like an old hurt or just an assumption you've never really questioned?
Journaling could help here, I imagine.
Oh, definitely. Keeping a journal, just reflecting regularly, it's a really powerful way to start uncovering these hidden patterns and beliefs.
Now, something else that's, pretty amazing is this idea that our brains aren't fixed. Neuroplasticity.
It truly is incredible, and it's central to Murphy's whole approach. He emphasizes that our mental abilities, our tendencies, they aren't set in stone.
The brain can actually change.
It's incredibly adaptable. Things like mental training, visualization, specific focus exercises, even using affirmations consistently.
It's like exercise for the brain.
Exactly like exercise for the brain. You're strengthening the neural pathways linked to the qualities or skills you want to develop, confidence or focus or resilience.
So you're carving new paths.
You are. Think of it like creating a well-worn path in a forest. The more you walk it, the more you think a certain thought or perform a certain action, the easier that path becomes. Mental training helps you intentionally carve out new, more desirable paths in your brain's forest.
So it's not just wishful thinking. You're actively building mental strength.
Precisely. And this brings us back to why self-awareness is so foundational. Murphy sees it as the absolute starting point for all this inner work.
Why is just understanding yourself so critical before you can really change things?
Well, because you can't change what you don't know is there, right? If you're not aware of a limiting belief or a negative thought pattern.
I can't do anything about it.
Exactly. Self-awareness means getting a handle on your typical thoughts, your emotional reactions, the core beliefs driving your behavior, your default patterns. It shines a light on those internal roadblocks.
The ones you might not even realize are slowing you down.
The ones you might be completely unaware of. So practices like journaling, like we mentioned, or just regularly checking in with yourself, asking, what am I thinking right now? What am I feeling? They're vital for cultivating this awareness.
It's like asking, what internal obstacles might be affecting my progress right now that I haven't even considered?
That's a really powerful question to sit with, yeah.
Okay, so we're getting a handle on our inner landscape, the two minds, beliefs, neuroplasticity, self-awareness. Now, Murphy lays out 5 key areas, his pillars of inner excellence training. Let's jump into the first one.
Pillar 1, unwavering clarity, knowing your destination. This is all about direction, purpose,
So knowing what you actually want.
and why you want it. Murphy really stresses identifying your core values, what truly deeply matters to you.
Like honesty or growth or connection, things like that.
Exactly. When your goals are actually connected to these deep values, it provides this incredible fuel, motivation, resilience when things get tough.
It gives it meaning.
It does. So take a quick moment, maybe right now if you're listening.
Yeah.
What are, say, 2 or 3 things that are fundamentally important to you? And then how well do your current actions, your goals, actually line up with those values?
It's about finding that big why, isn't it?
That's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
He also talks about the art of goal setting itself, moving beyond just vague wishes.
I want to be more successful.
Right, which is too fuzzy. Instead, setting really precise targets, but crucially, backing them up with a compelling vision.
Seeing it clearly in your mind.
Yes. How vividly can you imagine achieving that outcome? What does it look like, feel like, sound like? The more real and compelling that mental picture is, the more magnetic it becomes. It pulls you forward.
And then he adds this idea of creating a compelling image of your future self. What's that about?
It's about building a really positive, empowering mental picture of the person you are striving to become, the version of you who has achieved those goals, who embodies those values.
And you visualize this person.
Regularly. See yourself as that future you. What qualities do they possess? How do they handle challenges? How do they think? Visualizing this helps make it feel attainable and reinforces the identity you're growing into.
Pillar number 2, indomitable confidence, the bedrock of belief. That sounds pretty fundamental.
It absolutely is. But Murphy makes a really key distinction here. He talks about true confidence versus false bravado.
So not just acting confident, but actually feeling it deep down.
Exactly. Authentic confidence, he argues, is rooted in self-awareness, in understanding your strengths and weaknesses, and crucially, in a commitment to growth. It's not just an outward show, it's an inner certainty.
So how do we cultivate that genuine confidence?
One of the most powerful ways is through what psychologists call building self-efficacy, which is essentially your belief in your own ability to succeed at specific tasks or overcome specific challenges.
So task-specific confidence.
To a degree, yes. And you build it through mastery experiences. By setting and achieving small, manageable goals. Little wins, celebrate them. Each one reinforces the belief, I can do this. So think about it. What's one small, achievable step you could take today towards a larger goal that would give you that little boost, that feeling of accomplishment?
That makes sense. What else helps build confidence?
Well, he brings back the importance of our inner dialogue, our self-talk, becoming aware of that internal chatter.
The inner critic.
Often, yes. And consciously choosing to replace those negative, undermining thoughts with positive, supportive affirmations, statements that reflect the reality you want to create.
I am capable, or I learn from challenges.
Exactly. And it's not about lying to yourself, but about choosing a more empowering perspective. What's one negative thought you notice frequently that you could actively reframe today?
And visualization comes in here too.
Definitely. Mentally rehearsing success. Seeing yourself performing well, handling situations confidently before they happen. Athletes do this all the time. It primes your mind and body for success.
Let's move to pillar 3. Laser-sharp concentration, the art of focused attention. Something I think we could all use a bit more of.
Huh. You're probably right. We live in an age of distraction. So Murphy first explores the nature of focus itself and what typically pulls our attention away. Understanding the enemy, so to speak.
Digital distractions, mind wandering.
All of it. Then he offers practical techniques. Things like, well, single tasking instead of trying to juggle multiple things.
Which never really works well.
Rarely. Also, time blocking, dedicating specific chunks of time to specific focus tasks, and even very brief attention control exercises.
Like what?
As simple as just focusing intently on your breath for, say, 60 seconds, or focusing on a single object. These little drills, done regularly, actually train your brain's ability to sustain focus. Even a few minutes a day can make a difference over time.
He also talks about achieving that flow state, doesn't he? That feeling of being totally immersed.
Yes, being in the zone, that state of complete absorption where time seems to disappear and performance peaks. Murphy points out key conditions for flow.
What helps you get there?
Having really clear goals for what you're doing is crucial, and finding that sweet spot where the challenge of the task appropriately matches your current skill level, not too hard.
Right, if it's too easy, you get bored, too hard, you get anxious.
Exactly. Think about a time you really experienced flow. What were the conditions? What factors helped you get into that state? Understanding that can help you recreate it.
And mindfulness plays a role here, too.
Yes, he connects mindfulness, that practice of paying attention to the present moment, non-judgmentally, directly to improving your ability to sustain focus over time. It trains your attention muscle.
Pillar 4, emotional mastery and resilience, navigating the inner tides. This sounds like dealing with feelings constructively.
That's exactly it. Murphy's perspective isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about understanding that emotions provide valuable information.
Signals, basically.
Signals, yes, but it's our reaction to those signals that really matters. He suggests strategies like, first, identifying your common emotional triggers. What situations or thoughts reliably set you off? Knowing your buttons. Then, learning to create a pause, just a brief moment between the feeling arising and your habitual reaction.
Just a little space to choose your response.
Exactly. Even a single breath can make a difference. How could you practice creating a tiny pause in your reactions this week? He also talks about cognitive reframing, consciously changing your perspective on a situation to change how you feel about it.
And resilience. How does that fit in?
Resilience is about bouncing back from setbacks, learning from mistakes instead of being crushed by them, maintaining perspective, focusing on what you can control in a difficult situation.
Not getting stuck in what you can't change.
Precisely. Remember a recent challenge looking back? What did you learn from it? What strength did you discover? And of course, he stresses basic stress management. Prioritizing rest, recovery, relaxation techniques. You can't master emotions if you're constantly burned out.
Makes sense. And finally, pillar 5, disciplined action and consistency. This is where the rubber meets the road, right? Turning intention into reality.
Absolutely. All the mindset stuff is great, but it doesn't mean much without action. Murphy really emphasizes the power of habits here.
Automating success.
That's a good way to put it. Building positive habits so that desired actions become almost automatic, requiring less willpower. His advice is classic but effective. Start small, be incredibly consistent.
Don't try to change everything at once.
No. What's one tiny positive habit you could realistically start building today and commit to doing it every single day, even if just for a minute?
He also tackles procrastination. Any tips there?
Yeah, the usual suspects, but they work. Break down large, overwhelming tasks into much smaller, manageable steps, and then just focus all your energy on getting started on the very first smallest step.
The just 5 minutes rule often helps.
It does. Often, just starting is the hardest part. He also mentions deliberate practice, not just going through the motions, but focused effort aimed at specific areas of improvement.
And perseverance. Sticking with it.
Crucial. Discipline isn't just about starting. It's about continuing when it gets difficult, boring, or frustrating. And that's where reconnecting with your big why, your core values from Pillar 1, becomes so important. It fuels that perseverance.
So you can see how all these 5 pillars, clarity, confidence, concentration, emotional mastery, and disciplined action, they all interconnect and support each other.
They really do. It's a holistic system. And Murphy shows how these core principles drive success and fulfillment in all sorts of areas.
It's not just for athletes or high performers.
Not at all. Whether your focus is your career, your relationships, your health, your personal development, these inner skills apply everywhere. Think about your specific goals right now. How could strengthening your clarity, confidence, focus, emotional resilience, or discipline help you move forward?
So wrapping this up, what are maybe the biggest takeaways for someone listening? And perhaps one small thing they could start doing like today.
I think the central message is incredibly empowering. Your mind is your most powerful tool for creating the life you desire. And this inner excellence isn't some mystical gift. It's a set of skills that are absolutely trainable.
You can learn this stuff.
You absolutely can. As for a first step, something really actionable. Well, building on what we said, maybe commit to that 1 minute of focused breathing each day this week. Just 1 minute.
Simple, but maybe not easy at first.
Or Take 2 minutes before bed to journal one thing you learned or one small success you had during the day. Just pick one tiny practice to start building that muscle of self-awareness or discipline. Start small, be consistent.
Jim Murphy's Inner Excellence really does offer a wealth of wisdom, a practical blueprint, really, for anyone on that path of personal growth.
It's a powerful reminder that by understanding and applying these core principles, you really can unlock more of your potential and cultivate a more meaningful, fulfilling life.
It really is about looking inward to create the outward results you want.
Well said.
Well, thanks so much for diving deep into this with us today. It's been fascinating.
My pleasure. Great book. Lots to think about.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for the next exploration on applied wisdom, literature for a living better. And hey, if this discussion helped you out, give us a like and subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel reach more people.
Thanks for listening, everyone.